Welcome to Rhinos and Aliens. Guns Akimbo.
Okay. Is that how you say that? Akimbo. I had to look up the meaning of that word.
What's the meaning of that word?
I don't completely remember. It was something about like limbs flailing in a way. So I see, like, I guess the guns are on his limbs and they flail around. I don't know. You should look it up.
That would make sense for the film, though.
It was like, yeah, guns akimbo. So that's the description of his flailing about.
With hands on the hips and elbows turned outward.
Okay, but read the next one. That's more fitting.
Of other limbs flung out widely or haphazardly.
That more says the movie to me.
Ready or Not. Have you seen that film?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, bro. It's fucked up.
Is it?
I understand why she was in this film, too. She does...
Ready or Not?
Yeah. The plot of this film is basically... It's an alternative future underground fight club and criminal organization schism. And
That's a mouthful. This is a ridiculous movie in the best of ways.
Bro, the best way to describe this film, I think everybody who is into films should see it, but I never want to see it again.
Right, neither do I. It certainly set a tone. Like everything, the way it was shot and everything, it took you in. It was made for a gamer to watch. Obviously, the way it was shot, the action, the even the metaphors they use in the writing, like
the metaphors. You remember the one scene where they're walking on the street and they have the actual imagery popping up of what they're doing on the phone.
Right. Yep, like that. And at what point, when he's talking about the girl that he likes, he says, as if treat her as if she was an Xbox achievement to be unlocked.
Yeah, he was in the wrong.
I think we should all comment on things as if someone might kidnap us
or kill you
and bolt guns to our hands.
Yeah,
so that they flail about.
I think this film.
Akimbo.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And he had the stereotypical douche manager who knew nothing about games.
Right.
Which is so familiar.
Like what?
You're the manager of something, yet you know
nothing. Yeah,
about the business.
I think it's a requirement in some places.
Now thinking about the entire film is set up like a game too, like the boss fight.
Yeah, he unlocks achievements and yeah. He levels up, as you would say.
And just like every great game, it hints at a sequel.
Yeah, it does. A bigger, better one. There's schisms all over the place. I don't think my heart rate can take the next film.
How would you even make a next film with the same budget? You would have to triple the budget of this film to even...
And he no longer has guns
on his
nailed to his... So if you consider that the trope that was like the thing of this movie, how do you top that?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, you know what those reminded me of while we're on the topic of games is they reminded me of, do you know the God of War games? Kratos, his punishment from the gods has they're seared onto his, yeah.
And he could never get rid of them?
That's probably the only game comparison I could ever do because I'm not a gamer, but that reminded me of that, the first thing I thought.
What would it take for you to believe that you just woke up with any type of thing bolted to you, let alone guns?
What would it take for me to believe it?
Yes.
I think the pain might tip me off.
Nope.
I wouldn't have went back to sleep. I don't...
Well, what would you have done, mister?
I don't know what I would have done. I would have... Okay, so how does he have mobility in his finger? His hands are bolted everywhere. I don't feel like...
Because if I remember correctly, I think his index finger was the only finger that wasn't bolted.
Right. Even so he may have been numbed from
yes,
the entire.
Yes, and the body does incredible things under pressure.
Yes, it does. I wouldn't have. It wouldn't have mattered whether I believed it or not. My immediate reaction would have been roll up in a ball in the corner and cry. Like, why? Why are there guns?
Would your thought process change if what happened in the film, people broke into your house and knocked you the fuck out? Because if I had contacts, I would be freaking the fuck out.
Right. I would probably roll up in a ball in the corner and cry.
So no matter what,
Yeah, that's probably how this is going. It wouldn't have been an interesting movie had I been the main character.
what would your thoughts be if you knew you were now in an online reality TV show that ends in death?
So I think the immediate thing I would do is I'd probably roll up in a ball.
I had a feeling. Because you're probably
and cry. But I wouldn't just be crying in pain. I would be embarrassed as well, which would make the crying harder. It doesn't matter what I think. Guns exist. Whether I have access to one or not, other people are going to.
exactly.
I don't have to like that they exist, but I understand that they do. You can't undiscover the, splitting of the atom, so to speak.
Would that be a metaphor, or were you just making?
I don't know. I think it was just a thought that I had.
I liked it.
It's a metaphor because I'm using it to explain
you were
something
comparing.
else.
Yes.
But it's not a simile because if it had been, I would have used like or as.
And if it was prolonged, it would have been an allegory.
Yes, it would have. Wow. We should have a literary podcast.
If you bring up the terms, I'll remember them.
I think I just said everything I know about. The opposite of that then would be dramatic irony. It's something that we know, but the character doesn't.
Yeah, but that's still technically not a negative because it's
Right.
not fooling us.
I just wanted to say it because it's a fancy phrase that I knew. So nobody who knows.
the author.
That's like if you okay, something that exists as a concept but not in the world, like
Love.
yeah. Wow. We all know your stance on that, I guess.
I'm a hopeless romantic.
Oh, but later, like, okay, you can foreshadow something that
Yes.
nobody knows about.
Without foreshadowing.
Okay. Because nobody can know what's happening. So everything in the next chapter, anytime you read anything, it falls into the category of something the character doesn't know and you don't know unless you are reading a time travel story.
True.
Then the character may know what's going to happen.
Unless you're reading a story where everything...
my brain can't process this conversation anymore.
I feel like I'm high.
You just naturally got there.
I don't even know how we segue all the way over
Yeah,
here.
weren't we talking about a movie?
Remember?
So Guns Akimbo.
Instead of guns, 2 pistols. Let's say it was 2 AK-47s.
Those are. This is where I'm gonna sound stupid. Those are bigger, right?
I would say they weigh at least 3 times as much.
Yeah. I don't think I'd be able to move. I'm a small dude as it is.
You would use them as
They'd be crutches.
Well, first off, if we're going to go that realistic, a woman who's been assassinating people for how many years
Right. Would have killed him.
would have not missed how many freaking
Right.
shots?
He would have died in his apartment. And that would have been the movie.
Or at the very least, he would have died going down the fire ladder.
It would have only been slightly more interesting of a film than mine where I was in the corner crying.
That is a good point.
I love the bum. He's my favorite character in the whole movie. I wish the whole movie was about him.
Yes, I would watch those scenes with him again.
I think that specific guy is a really fun. I don't know who the hell he is, but he's also in.
He's in a lot.
Yes Man.
Oh, he is.
He's the boss in the bank.
Yes.
Every time that guy says anything, I crack up, which is funny because his character in that was obsessed with Harry Potter. I just remembered.
OCD wise, that scene with the hot dog just completely.
Oh dear God. That was disgusting. Like, yeah, that was designed to be as gruesome as possible.
Bro, it
And then
just.
he's like, and then he asked. I can't remember what he asked him, but he said, "I don't know. It's been there for about 10 months." If the introduction to the conversation was like he runs up to the car waving guns, Akimbo, then yeah, I would have screamed and driven off. But
He was trying
they
to
had
hide it.
that entire. Forget about like relationship history. They had an entire scene of
Build-up.
build up, so it
Yeah.
just didn't make sense.
How long would you be able to go before you shot yourself? Because, and specifically, how would you be able to handle anything? As the film emphasized, from just using your phone to
You
peeing
mean like oh God, like trying to do stuff?
and not shoot yourself.
Not very far. But it's hard to shoot yourself when you're just sitting in the corner crying.
I love how you keep bringing this. See, now if you were a character, you're staying true to your
Right?
character.
Yeah, exactly. Consistency, people. It's not hard.
I was feeling for my
cringing.
own penis.
Yep. And it was perfect. The ending of the scene was perfect when he said, "It's okay. you didn't shoot yourself in the chest." Like, yeah.
Even though in any normal situation,
Yeah.
everything he just did is
Yeah.
like, yo, bro, he didn't even make the actual target half the piss.
Yeah. But he looked on the bright side because he didn't shoot his dick off.
Would apply. Right?
I think you could probably get a doctor's note.
Yo, you know how many women are all about pity points?
Yeah, they'd be much more attracted to that than
Yeah.
dual wielding weapons.
Yeah. Unless you have one of those really
dude likes danger. It's
Yes.
like, oh, hands.
There's
your
women like
hands are
that, too.
bolted to guns. That's sexy.
But there's the same amount of women who say, "Oh, you don't have any hands at all, and that's sexy." Nub me.
Preferences. So everyone can find.
Just a friendly reminder, guys. Hit the subscribe button in this corner. And then for the newest video. Then for the most recommended. And then for our famous dick pic.